Greetings, YouTube. Welcome. I am the Crypto Crow, and it's time to get bullish. Just so you know, we're going to be covering a lot of different things in this video, and there's some exciting stuff happening, and we're going to cover a bit of all of it. We're going to cover some stuff with Ethereum. We're going to cover some tweets, some X marks, as well as some information about Cardano's louse that's coming. Unfortunately, I don't have much new news on midnight, but we know that airdrop is coming in this summer sometime. And I recently saw Charles say something that it was going to be coming before November. But then I sent him a message. I'm like, is midnight getting pushed to November? Because that's not this summer. But at the same time, it was my understanding that Midnight's airdrop was going to happen this summer, and then potentially the launch itself was going to be by the end of the year. So maybe the airdrop still is going to happen this summer, and November is going to be considered the end of the year. For the actual launch, that'd be pretty cool because November is my birthday, and so I would love to see Midnight launching and everything, but I really want to see this airdrop happening sooner than later because we've all been waiting for it for so long. I am honestly just very excited to get the Midnight tokens in my hand, and I know that they're being distributed to like 37 million users across multiple blockchains, which I honestly think is brilliant. It's a brilliant way of pulling that off. And handling that airdrop and just bringing so many millions of people into the Cardano ecosystem. But we still don't yet know all that much about what's happening with it. So, we're just going to have to wait and see, like everything else in the market. But I will say that, I have been feeling a lot better. Everything has been just really turning around and I've been feeling better. Everything's been going back to normal physically. And so that's a really big thing. I will say that my wife has completely cut my diet. I'm not allowed to have any sugar at all anymore. No more tea with creamer. This is just a tea. No more creamers. I'm not even allowed to have meat for a while. My wife is restricting me from having pretty much any meat whatsoever for the next like 90 days until I do new labs. So it's, I'm searching for some dopamine, people. So, and I think I'm getting it a little bit in some of the price action, what I think is happening in the market. So we'll see. But I just thought I'd give everybody those little updates. So let's go ahead and dive into a little bit about everything that's going on. Real quick, Billy Bolt's my first fictional novel. Still only 8 reviews. Folks, I know a lot of you bought this book, which I greatly appreciate, but it's like hitting the like button and the subscribe and doing all that nonsense on YouTube without reviews. I mean, every review has been a 5-star review. So, and everybody really seems to love the book. But out of the number of people that have bought it, very, very few of you are reviewing it. I would really, really appreciate it if you would review this book. And be honest, because I'm taking the feedback, and I'm going to be using that if I do in fact write the second book, and I'd love to have a series of them. But I'm like everybody says, I see the comments. Nobody has more projects than Crow. Crow, you're always doing different things. I am. I'm always doing different things. I always have different ideas. I'm always working. And here's the thing. I always have to be learning. I'm like a shark. If I'm not constantly moving in some way mentally, I will sink. And that's just the way I am. And yeah, I have a lot of ideas and I work on a lot of new projects and do different things. But that's just the way I operate. I mean, I don't make any apologies for that. It's how I discovered crypto, right? So it is what it is. Let's talk about this. Now, I see this Merlin the trader on X all the time, every day, 20 times a day. He's always got something crazy bullish that he's posting, and I guess it's good for engagement. Still waiting for pretty much anything that this guy has said to come to fruition, but I do believe it is happening. I do believe that a lot of this bullish sentiment and a lot of these things are really lining up. A lot of stuff is lining up. Yes, the market cycle is taking a bit longer, but keep in mind, you know, I at one point I thought maybe the early, you know, the all-time high in Bitcoin happening before the halving itself for the first time in history was going to offset the market. I just think that was kind of a wave. I think it was a nod, and it was to say, you know what, institutions are here, and this pump into the new all-time high is strictly just these ETFs and this institutional money. But I do think that it changed everyone's mindset quite a bit. I feel like it made everyone look to expect more sooner, and the opposite of that has been happening, because you have to understand, and we have to keep in mind that this is a long-term game now. I think the degeneracy in crypto, I don't think it's ever going to be gone for good, but I do believe that a lot of the degeneracy that has created these like meme coin pumps and all of this money being poured into a lot of the garbage in what I consider to be kind of the red light district of crypto, I think those days are pretty much done. I mean, not that it's not going to continue happening here and there. There are always going to be people that are trying to liquidate the assets of us, right? The retail users, the newcomers, the people that have just discovered crypto, and we're hearing all these stories about how easy it is, right? Oh, you could turn $100 into 100,000 overnight, man. It's great. That's all bullshit, really. Like it has happened, but the majority of that stuff is just nonsense. And so there are always going to be people looking to try and capitalize on that. And it is what it is. But I do believe that the sentiment is changing. And if we go back to like 2017, when the CME futures launched and they were talking about taming Bitcoin, like this is us, we're taming Bitcoin. They're taming it, and they've continued to do so. So, you know, I do believe that things are going to get really, really interesting and really good. And I'm hoping for an extremely bullish summer. But Ethereum is copying 2017 bar for bar. 2017 breakout after reclaiming the 50 moving average. This was in 2017. And then in 2025, same setup, same level, same tension. The only difference, 2025 has a bigger engine, more fuel, and no brakes. So, and you can see how this is kind of lining up. I wouldn't say it's necessarily bar for bar, but you can see the sentiment is very much the same. It's very in line with what was happening in the previous market cycles. So, and a lot of people have been comparing this current market cycle to the 2017. But the thing is I don't think we're going to get the extreme volatility that we were used to seeing in 2017. There's just too much leverage. There's too much happening in the market now to keep everything kind of idle in that sense. Not idle in terms of not moving up or moving down, but, you know, kind of like you start your car engine and it's idle, right? Yes, the pistons, everything's going up and down, but within a range, right? And I think that's what's happening. The market is idling while it's steadily making progress in one direction or another, depending on the point of the market. And so, yes, I do believe that there are going to be a lot of similarities and things associated with previous market cycles, maybe 2017. But I still think that we're more in line with like the NASDAQ. And so, and I've been working on, I'm learning Elliott Wave. You know, I told my wife, I said, if there's one thing I want to change about my YouTube content is that I really want to buckle down on learning. Like, I want to learn Elliott Wave with Fibonacci, and I'm just going to stick it there. And that's it. You know, a lot of people have their, like, everyone has like their favorite indicators, the favorite tools that they use for price action. And like Tone Base loves the Tom DeMark indicator, and he was gracious enough years ago to send me his custom version, which is really cool. I doubt you can see him. I even have books on my shelf about the Tom DeMark indicator, and it's all cool. But there's something about the Elliott Wave and the Fibonacci retracement that really sticks with me. So I want to become like a master in that. So I've been reading my books and taking notes and putting it into practice and doing a lot of other things. So I'm not ready to start showing a lot of that yet, but just kind of let you guys know that is something that I'm working on. And I'm moving forward. Just to let you guys know, I'm working on I'm completely redoing Vibranism, my book, and I'm basically going to be pushing that into a charitable effort. And there are a lot of things that I want to do as it relates to Vibranism. And yeah, I'm going to sound really crazy for a minute. Put your tinfoil hat on, but I'm working on Vibranism as a form of religion, I guess you could say, to help those that religion has scarred. From people like my mother, my wife, myself to some extent, because I believe there's a much bigger picture out there. And a lot of us are ignoring those pictures because of the scars of the past, the ways that organized religion and things have maybe not done us so well a service in our lifetime. And so that's basically what I'm working on. And with this charitable this charity ultimately that I'm forming, there's a lot of stuff that I want to do. I'm actually probably going to be meeting with somebody soon because I want to start doing some documentary style videos about some of the things that I'm doing. And I really do want to kind of change the content on this channel a bit to where it's all focused around cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Cardano, etc. as normal, but I want it to mean more, and I want it to do more for more people in more ways. And so I'm just kind of letting you know that at some point that you're going to start seeing those changes. A total of 120 million ADA has been caught up in whale activity in the last 48 hours, folks, attracting attention on the crypto market. According to crypto analyst Ali, whales have purchased over 120 million ADA in the last 48 hours following recent market optimism. This is pretty huge. Bitcoin's price rose above $110,000 for the first time in about 2 weeks, sparking a broader rally on digital assets. Cardano benefited from the positive momentum, recording 4 straight days of gains since June 5th. I really think we may very well be preparing for some significant breakouts. And if we're going to look at a lot of these things, but if you look at a lot of the chart patterns right now, a lot of these chart patterns are at a point where it's kind of like break it and make it. Like everything is primed to start breaking out. And it would make a lot of sense for Cardano given everything that's happening right now. At press time, ADA was up 4.32% in the last 24 hours to 70 cents, having reached 71 cents in the early Tuesday session. The recent accumulation suggests that large holders or whales might be betting on a potential upward move in Cardano's price as bullish momentum returns to the market. And remember, folks, this is the one thing that I have to try and really push on everyone. The entire market can be moving. Cardano could just be sitting silently waiting patient. And then once everything has settled down, Cardano will shoot up 100%. I mean, it's happened so many times that the thing is that because of the way that this market has been working out, it's like it can shoot up to $1.20 and then it'll work its way back down and then it'll shoot up and it's like, 5 steps forward, 2-3 steps back. But there's going to be a point where it's just 4 steps forward, 5 steps forward, 2 steps forward, 5 steps forward. I mean, it's going to get to that point. Where we end up in the end of that, we'll see. But I definitely believe that it's coming. On the upside, resistance is expected at the moving averages of 50 and 200 at 72 cents and 82 cents. Funny, because that's basically where the resistances have been this entire cycle so far. 82 cents. How many times have I said if we could just get above and close above 82 cents on like a daily, especially a weekly, that would be like a godsend for further price action moving up and moving forward. But we'll see. I mean, it's going to happen, but I really want to break above that dollar mark. Really, I want to break above that $1.20 mark and stay there for a bit. Respectively, while support is envisaged near 60 cents in the event of a drop. So the surge in whale accumulation coincides with major developments in the Cardano ecosystem. We're going to touch on some of this stuff here in a little bit as well. Cardano has introduced Cardinal, It's about time. I have not known the name of this in so long. I've asked. I've never been told. Like, I wish I was the plug everybody thought I was. Like, I wish I could just message Charles and be like, yo, what's the deets on this? And he would tell me, and I'm like, oh, cool, I could sleep. No, he just ignores the shit out of me. We chat about things outside of Cardano, but you know, he's not, he won't tell me anything. He really won't tell me much of anything. But it would be nice if I knew, especially if I knew like the drop dates and anything relevant to midnight. But I try him, and I think, you know what, he's been I watched his recent AMA. He was so animated and happy, and I'm like, when's midnight? And he just leaves me on red like a Tinder match. It's funny. It's first Bitcoin DeFi protocol. This is going to be big. The new primitive for Bitcoin allows users to wrap any BTC UTXO and find DeFi yield through lending, staking, and borrowing. I actually saw something recently about Strike. Was it Strike Finance? I think it is. I'm probably going to do some kind of coverage on that in the near future, because I think that we're going to start seeing some significant explosions. I had to fix my chair. Some significant explosions in Cardano's TVL and overall on-chain. I mean, I think this is going to start getting crazy. Folks, I'm telling you, I do believe wholeheartedly that it is literally just a matter of time, whether it's this market cycle or as we head into 2030, Cardano is going to be number 2 in the market cap. And I know some of you out there are like, oh, you're crazy, Crow. You're crazy, Crow. How many years have you guys been telling me I was crazy just to find out I was right after the fact? I'm not the biggest YouTube channel on YouTube because I don't really do everything that you're supposed to do for YouTube gods to like really push you. And I talk a lot. So, you know, a lot of people don't want to sit through 30 or 40 minutes of some old guy rambling just to get the nuggets. But the nuggets, there are aplenty. And when you miss out on those, and it is what it is, I don't know. Cardano recently made history with the first cross-chain ordinal wrap. Cardinal powers the first trust minimized ordinal bridge from Bitcoin to Cardano mainnet. Ordinals will now be used in DeFi, serve as collateral, or be auctioned across chains and borrow or lend value without losing provenance. This stuff is crazy, people. Do you have any idea how crazy this is? Cardinal creates wrapped assets, NFTs or tokens that are natively pegged one-to-one, transferable on-chain, burnable to release BTC or ordinals, and compatible with any smart L1, not just Cardano. I mean, this is going to be nuts. Do you not realize how huge this is? This is going to be absolutely nutso. Cardano's new protocol, Cardinal, brings non-custodial Bitcoin to its DeFi space. This is all going to change the game, man. Cardano, and I may very well be interviewing like the CEO or one of the top brass at Bitcoin OS. That may be happening this week. We'll see. I'm not 100% sure. We've been kind of going back and forth. They reached out and I'm like, yeah, sure. So we'll see. A protocol that allows Bitcoin to be used in DeFi without centralized custody services or tokenized versions. And that's the thing, because Bitcoin OS is using their own token. Charles said, why isn't this using ADA? Why do you need your own token? We're going to create something else as an alternative that's going to use ADA. It needs to settle in ADA. Otherwise, it just feels like a cash grab. And while I understand, you know, there are benefits to establishing your own token, and granted, we have gazillions of them. And unfortunately, the meme coin market has just flooded the market with trash, so it's kind of it gets confusing for newcomers, especially. But you know, realistically, you know, like with Wargram, I mean, we've been going back and forth on, do we want to create our own token to utilize for the game. And I think we're still not 100% sure on whether or not we want to do that, because it does make things a lot easier in some regard. But anyway, Cardano uses multi-sig 2 to securely manage cross-chain transactions and add support for ordinals within the Cardano ecosystem. And following the announcement, ADA rose 5.5% and Bitcoin 3.78%, while NASDAQ seeks to add ADA to its crypto freaking index pending SEC approval. I have been trying to use AI and other methods to try and compile a list of all of the major, because I feel like so much of what's happening with Cardano right now continues flying under the radar because there isn't it's like there's not a paid marketing arm. There's still nothing to drive this news to major crypto media. And I really do believe that that's one of the reasons why it's snubbed. A lot of people would say, oh yeah, crypto media snubs Cardano all the time because they're funded by the Ethereum venture capitalists, right? And all of the money that's been flowing through that ecosystem, pumping a lot of it used to be the ICOs, and it's just like, people, as we've learned, if you want to control the narrative of anything, you basically have to buy ads. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. The more money you spend with the media, the more they're going to go to bat for you and say whatever the hell you want them to. And that's the same across all media. And it doesn't matter if it's crypto, the world, news, it doesn't matter. It's all the same. And when I look at a lot of the articles out there, I mean, think about it. How many times have we seen meme coins that are well funded have, they're taking over the media for a day or a week, right? It's like everything you read is about this stupid shit coin being compared to Cardano or Solana or whatever, right? They're all being compared to the projects out there that garner the most attention, and they're attaching their names to them as though they're even remotely close to any of it. But the media is willing to do that as long as you pay for it. That's just basically the way it breaks down. And it makes me sick to an extent, but it is what it is. Romain Pellerin, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce his name, but I just saw this and I thought I would share it. Just a couple little things. A new primitive for Bitcoin: wrap any BTC UTXO, find DeFi yield with it, lending, staking, and borrowing. Trust minimize, one of N honest operator. We made history with the first cross-chain ordinal wrap. So that was pretty cool news there. Now, did you smell what ADA? Do you smell what ADA is cooking? Do you smell it? And I know I'm seeing chat blow up. I'm going to be getting to you guys after I cover a lot of this stuff. This is interesting. ADA alert. Our oscillator line is on the verge of turning bullish. This setup has historically preceded major moves. Get ready. Cardano might be gearing up for a breakout. Now, this was May 27th. Hopefully, and I don't know what this oscillator is. I didn't dive into it yet, but likely I'm assuming we're about to trigger if we haven't already, and we may very well start pumping here soon. If this is true, we'll see. I don't know. It's very bullish. Yeah, we'll see. Wargram, my trading card game on Cardano. Eli he's been active. He's been on chat. We're trying to figure out exactly what the fee structure is going to be with MKR, because the fee structure just sounds high, and we're trying to launch this without seeming like we're milking everyone, right? It's like, we really want to try and figure out, we need to get like 150,000 ADA on the books to finish everything that we have planned. And it's been a real struggle to try and figure out how to get that. And so we thought, well, what if we just launch the first set? I think it's like 230 or 240 cards that are done. And we launched the first set, and we basically just drip these cards into the booster packs. And people can buy them. When they buy them, they're playable right now. And then we just use those funds to continue building until we're finished, and then we do a big grand poobah launch. So until then, basically, we would call it like early access, I guess you would call it. because there's still little bugs, little things here and there, nothing significant. I think it actually plays pretty well. The last time I played it, it was smooth and it was very nice. Frames, everything was great. But there's a lot of flash and trash we still want to add, but first we want to get the main core game. We want to get the land system in play. So that people are able to compete against each other for land that generates resources. Those resources will basically allow you to create new gear, weapons, items, things like that for use in your decks. Deck building works. Everything pretty much works. It's just there's a lot more we have planned. But anyway, we're trying to figure out what the fee is going to be, because I think they're saying it's like 2 ADA per card or 3%, whichever is greater. And we were originally thinking, well, if we could just launch a 6-card booster pack for like 10 ADA or even 20 ADA, then that would be cool. But it's like those fees, man, that's like 12 ADA right off the top just to mint them. So we're trying to figure something out, and we're not 100% sure, and like I'm pretty sure NMKR is pretty much the only place that you can do something like this, where you can have booster packs and all that. If you know of anything else, let me know. There needs to be some competition, because and I'm not necessarily saying NMKR is bad or anything. I just think it's the nature of Cardano and how the transactions and how a lot of that stuff works. NMKR has minimums as well. So it's tricky, and we're trying to do this without charging, 30 freaking ADA, 40 ADA for a booster pack of cards. But we're definitely looking for as much feedback. I posted on X, and we're trying to figure out a happy medium so that everybody can get what they want and we're all happy about it. I don't want this to be any other way. Looking at, and you can, if you go to Wargram, if you go to the website, wargram.io, you can join the wait list. So if you're not on the wait list, you might want to get on there, because that there are going to be some benefits to that probably sooner than later. Now this is puzzling. This is Bitcoin's over the counter. Now this isn't all over the counter, so I'm not 100% sure, but there's 136,000 Bitcoin currently on over the counter, and I'm pretty sure the last time I looked into this, it was like 115,000. I'm not sure where this is coming from, unless this is miners that are finally selling. Maybe miners only sell at all-time highs. I'm not really sure how that works. But I've seen on other channels where there's a chart somewhere that's like all over the counter balances combined, and it's much lower than this. So I'm not quite sure what's happening there. Bitcoin's market cap dominance, it hasn't really fallen that much. It's currently at about 64%. It's actually increasing right now on a 4-hour candle, which I find kind of interesting. I definitely expect to start seeing this drop sooner than later. And I know that there's a lot of talk about like the quantitative easing and how they're, Jerome Powell and everybody, they're silently starting to kick that off without really announcing much of it. We'll see how that ends up, but we really once quantitative easing really does kick in, which I would expect to see sooner than later, that's definitely going to start sending this market. It's going to like send it. So we'll see. I also saw a post by Benjamin Cowan, and he was talking about the 200 SMA. This is the 200 SMA on a weekly, and he was explaining how when the 200 SMA crosses over the previous market's all-time high price, that's typically when the current market peaks. And I was looking at it and I'm like, yeah, that looks good. And then I started doing it on my own chart, and I thought, okay, well, here in 2017, that was right. So when this 200 SMA crossed over the previous, like the 2013 market peak price, which is back here, when that crossed over, this market peaked. Okay, fair enough. That's cool. But then I was looking at the 2021, and this didn't happen until all the way over here. So I'm like, but on his chart, it lines up, and I'm thinking, was it? And I looked at it logarithmically, that didn't line up. And I'm like, I'm not sure what the difference is here. But this was offset quite a bit, because you can see this is the peak price in 2017. We head into the 2021 cycle. This is where this peak happened. So that green circle should be right here, but it's not. It's like late. So why is it different on my chart than it was on his? And I looked at candles. I've looked at the Heiken Ishii candles, see if that changed anything. I was just playing with all kinds of stuff, and it's just not lining up. But technically speaking, this market cycle, if this were, let's just assume that I did something stupid, which is possible. Let's just assume I did something stupid. This here would be where this should have to cross over. Okay. So the difference is what I would love to figure out a way to measure the variable here, or the variance here. Cause basically when the 200 SMA crosses over 70,000, that is technically when Bitcoin should officially peak for this cycle now. If that were the case, my guess is that would be somewhere around $280,000. And I've had this here for a long time. You guys that watch this channel on a regular basis know that this has been my peak market prediction for quite a while for Bitcoin, somewhere around $280,000. Well, that would basically make that a thing. So yeah, I mean, it'll be very interesting, but I am going to be keeping my eye on that, and I'm going to reference it here and there. So I just thought I'd share that with you guys. And then this, obviously, this is the M2 money supply, obviously still going up. And I don't even know what the daily offset is supposed to be on this. I think it changes a little bit. Right now it's set at 80. I don't really think that's accurate. I had it at 90 and it was pretty accurate for a minute, and then things changed a bit. So we got this dip here, but now we're working our way back up, and it looks like we could potentially be working our way. So this looks like where we're at here, right? So this could be where we're working our way up even further. Maybe we start breaking into $130,000 territory. That'll be really, really big. And then we get another bit of a correction. If this were to play out identically, which I don't think it's going to identically, but we could see somewhere around $130,000, $140,000 and then get a $10,000 correction before we move back up to closer to 160,000. So this is going to be very interesting, a very interesting time as we continue to push forward into this market. You can see here on a 4-hour with Bitcoin's price, we got a strong flying crow back here at around $105,000 before it wicked up to 110 yet again. This was yesterday. And you can see that it was moving into this bearish liquidity here around that $109,000 area. So from 109,000 to 110, which is why that's why the price is stalled here, because it's basically chewing up these order books. And so I find that very interesting. Once we get through this and this basically flips to bullish, that's probably going to be when we continue to move up. So what could very well happen from here is we may just start moving down. We get a bit of a correction. Maybe we move down here to around 108,000 and then start working our way back up and start chewing into this bearish liquidity even further. And then once that's gone, that's when we start rising up, and we likely start looking into like $120,000, $130,000 in Bitcoin. So we'll have to wait and see. And I'm not even going to cover everything with Elliott Wave yet, but it looks like we're basically, we should be moving up in Cardano's price. And you can see the volume down here is doing very, very well. Like, volume is picking up with bullish momentum in Cardano. This is a really big deal because we haven't really had, it's been a minute. We didn't have any bullish volume since all the way back here. This is like May 20th when we got this run from, this is 73 cents and we went up to about 85 cents. So I would like to think, and I'm hoping that the volume here pushes our price back up above 82 cents, where hopefully we'll close and we'll start sitting and establishing a new baseline and get some support there. So that's what I'm hoping for, but we shall see. And a weekly development report. This is from June 6th. I'm sure you've seen this in other places. Lace Wallet version 1.23 released. Mithril team delivered support for Cardano node version 10.4.1. Budget into governance action under review. Town hall 191 successfully conducted. Updates to the Cardano developer course is well underway. There are over 2,000 projects currently building on the Cardano blockchain. 1.33 million delegated wallets. If you're not delegating your ADA to a node, it doesn't have to be the Crow node, but excuse me, if you're not delegating your ADA, you've been missing a passive yield, passive income every epoch. Like basically it's around every week. And I highly encourage you to be delegating it. Don't just leave it sitting on exchanges. And I will tell you another thing too. I'm pretty sure that if you are leaving your ADA on an exchange, you're probably not going to get your midnight airdrop. I'm pretty sure that they're taking that snapshot of wallets themselves, not exchanges. And I don't think the exchanges are participating. And there's probably a multitude of reasons why. I don't necessarily think it's like, oh, well, the exchanges hate Cardano. I don't think that's it. I think it's the way they're doing this airdrop multi-chain and the way that's all happening. And I think they're doing that based on your wallet. So make sure that if you've got your ADA on an exchange, you stick it on a wallet before that snapshot. Nobody knows when it's happening. I doubt it's happened yet. I'm pretty sure Charles has confirmed recently that it hasn't happened yet. But make sure it's either Daedalus wallet. If you don't know, Daedalus is basically, it takes a while to set up. It's you're downloading the entire Cardano blockchain. It takes a minute, well, several minutes. You can do it on the Lace wallet if you want to do it in your browser. But if you do it in your browser, make sure you lock that shit up. Preferably not on site. So just do what you need to do. It all depends on what you hold, but keep your security on point and make sure it's guarded somehow. Native tokens, 10.82 million native tokens, 216,500 token policies, 110 million transactions, 211 GitHub commits. There are 1,346 D-reps. Active are 967. So yeah, that's pretty cool, man. There's a lot of activity going on. And then I thought maybe I'll save this for a different another video. I want to go into what is Laos, because that's the big next big poobah update for Cardano. And Laos is basically what I think is ultimately going to send Cardano into the number 2 spot in market cap. And I think I might just do a big deep dive in that. Maybe let me know in the comments if you want, like how deep you want me to go in Laos, because I find it fascinating, and everything that IOHK and they're working on doing for that is, I think it's going to change the game. I mean, effectively, it's going to make Cardano the fastest blockchain out there. I mean, yes, it's even going to beat Solana. And so, yeah, it's going to be a big deal. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up, and I'm going to take a look at chat, and let's see what all you fine folks have been saying lately. Why don't I have, it's interesting. Well, maybe I'll just bring this over here then so I can see it. Make this a little bigger. There we go. Now I can see yas. Oh, it actually logged in properly this time. That's why I don't have that. Okay, cool. All right, so let's see what's going on. I see Crypto Chef. What's going on? Not your keys, not your crypto. That's very true. I swear the stuff I have to do for security is so insane. I have to go on treks. I have like, there's so much stuff. Like I have to warn people about like certain things that I have to do for security if they come visit. Watch this junk crypto go back. Oh, cool. We've got a troll. That's funny. Hey, crypto, why should I relax? I love to remind these pump-tard YouTubers how wrong they have been. Oh, that's funny. Cool. So we got our, it's funny because I see Dan Gambardello talking about the Cardano trolls in his live chats and his comments. And, one thing that I've noticed now, Julio Morales, I don't know who this guy is. He's just, I don't know. He's probably a meme coin trader or something, But it's funny because when I'm on X and I see like just like the really snide, shitty comments, it's always like a name followed by like 5 or 6 digit numbers. They're bots. It's basically my point. They're bots, and they're just being cranked out in mass, and especially like if I post anything on X now, if I've got 40 comments under that, I swear 30 of them are bots. And it's just getting so terrible. It's getting so bad. And, you know, I guess Elon and everybody, they're like, oh, well, it's good for engagement. No, it's not, because people don't read comments anymore. As soon as they get to the bots, most people just tune out and they stop engaging. They don't even do anything else with the post. So it's ultimately hurting a lot of people by letting these bots run rampant on these platforms. And there are ways, don't let anybody fool you. There are ways, I've worked out ways, there are ways that they can eliminate it. They don't want to, because it helps their ad dollars. And I'm pretty sure even Facebook is like having to pay out money or something like that to advertisers, because it's all bullshit. Like a lot of, like half of everything we engage with on the internet today is all bots. It's pretty disgusting. So it is what it is. But hey, you are the okay. Let me see here. Hold on a minute. I'm gonna get to your comments in a minute, but I want to double check something here on my chat. There it is. Okay. All right. Fluid tokens. All right. Yeah, I mean, Ash Tony, I mean, it's, I don't really mind trolls here and there, but when they start getting really aggressive and really crazy, and then it just starts a fight in comments, it's like, then they gotta go, because it's at a point where it starts to get a little ridiculous. Crow Buddy, how you doing? I'm not a bot. Night 1805. Come on, man. What AI platform are you operating from? I'm just kidding. Julio, yeah, I don't know. I'm not even addressing Julio. Like he's obviously like a meme coiner or something like that. He probably just got into crypto like a month ago. Nothing's going to happen to alts until Bitcoin rolls to ETH, then rolls to alts, period. I know that's been the way. Everything has been up until now, but I'm not convinced that that's going to be the case this time. So many things are changing, man. Like so many things are changing. And if it does, it just means we've got a couple of months after Bitcoin's peak before Cardano really gets its final big blow off top. Now I'm seeing 1,535 viewers and only 116 likes. What gives? You guys don't like me that much, huh? Well, you know. All right. The problem is it's been 4 years and YouTubers been saying bull run is coming. Dan is well known for that. A bull run is coming. Listen, folks, you got to understand, Cardano was down to like 24 cents this cycle. Is everything tearing in the same time frames that we're used to? Absolutely not. Everything is taking longer. Is it frustrating? Yes. I've been insanely frustrated. But so many things have changed and so many things have been happening and so many things are happening. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to do like a compendium video of everything happening with Cardano, just Cardano alone. And as it relates to the government, the NASDAQ, Laos, just midnight. And I mean, there's so many things. There's so much happening that's basically sending this kettle to a boiling point. And once that whistle starts blowing, all you guys that are like trolling and angry and upset, oh, the market sucks, everything sucks. Yes, it sucks. I get it. It seems like the only thing that's moving at any point is Bitcoin. But I'm telling you right now that, listen, let me put it to you this way. Okay. I know that there are a lot of you guys out there. You got a few grand invested and, you know, you're hoping to buy your new Lambo or whatever. Listen, if I'm wrong and the market does not take effect the way I expect it to, even given the changes that have been happening, I'm totally screwed. Okay. I am so invested in Cardano and Bitcoin, with Cardano being my number one, that if it does not perform, I have to sell my house. I have to everything in my life changes. And it's been very, very stressful. So if you think that I'm just out here basically just singing everything's praises for the hell of it, because of like this element of hopium or whatever you think, you're crazy. I'm looking at everything based on what's actually happening. Yes, I understand the market cycle is different. Yes, I understand that things are taking longer. Yes, I understand that everything is being condensed on a scale. I get all that. But I also believe wholeheartedly that when this really does start to take off, I think this is going to melt faces. And I don't think I think the days of like, throw a dart and it's going to 10x or 100x, those days are done. Flat out, I think those days are done. I think what's happening is the cream is rising to the top. And I think that a lot of this, I feel like a lot of what's happening to some extent is an ebb and flow consolidation out of a lot of the crappy, shitty assets that everybody's used to seeing pump for no reason. Liquidity, money, resources, capital, I think it's flowing out of those into the top echelons of the market capitalization, the top crypto projects that actually have something to offer, that are making significant changes in both finance, DeFi, you name it. Cardano is number one in a lot of regards when it comes to a lot of this stuff. And, and hey, dare I say, Solana's not going anywhere either. I mean, Solana has too much money and it's too centralized to just be ignored. I mean, it's been pumping out significant cash flow all the way up to the presidential, like whatever. Like, I mean, it's pumping out money to make sure it's still part of the conversation no matter what happens. So, like, will it last beyond this market cycle? I don't know, but I definitely think it's going to do well and as we continue down this one. But there's going to be a time that everything does really, really well. And I also believe that Cardano is going to end up number two. I just do. So, and now there could be a thing where, maybe Bitcoin is looked at as the dollar, Ethereum is looked at as the quarter, and Cardano is looked at as the dime. I don't know. We'll see. It just all depends. But there's so much happening in the space right now. And there's so many things happening in this space that most people just aren't privy to yet. We're wafting over major headlines, major things, major developments. Midnight itself is probably going to be one of the biggest airdrops ever. And a lot of people, the problem is that hints and things are distributed over such long periods of time. Oh, well, this is coming in 2 years. This is coming someday. This is coming that day, maybe some way. I don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows anything. And people get wore out. And I think that's a part of the problem that we're seeing. Everybody wants firm answers on what's happening with XYZ. And when it's just gradually spilled out over time, that by the time it happens, everybody's like, oh, I forgot all about it. It's like tuning out advertisements. Like if you're watching your favorite TV show every night of the week and it's got the same damn ads every night of the week, and after a while you just forget you're even seeing them. I feel like that to some extent is what happens. But yeah, I mean, a lot of big things are coming. Same Crow, I'm riding on ADA, doing great. I have a great job, but if ADA hits that $8 to $12 range at 22, I can buy a house in Southern California. Why the hell would you want to buy a house in Southern California? I wouldn't honestly, I wouldn't step a foot in California nowadays. I feel like they have so many different ways of trapping you just for visiting. It's like, it's such California is such a cesspool anymore. I can't even. I love the number of people that are moving out of California, but they're trying to blame Trump for it. I find that hilarious. I'm like, no, you're moving out of California because it's a complete cesspool of crazy and you are done. And you're probably at like a retirement age where you just can't do it anymore. So you're trying to go somewhere more peaceful. It has nothing to do with Trump. It's just their big last, like, hey, if I ever want to come back to the US, I want to work again. So I'm going to make this all, I mean, it's all funny. It's all games and charades. When I stepped outside the Cardano ecosystem after being a maxi for 7 years, there's another world in crypto, easier. Hey, you know, it is what it is, man, to each their own, but you know, nothing worth having comes easy. And I know that everybody wants to be able to put $100 into something, and expect like a significant return overnight. But you know, Cardano isn't just here to try and make people wealthy. Cardano is literally here to try and change the world. And I believe in the mission, and I believe in what it's doing. And to do things the right way the first time, it takes a little more time. You know, we're at a place now where nobody ever thought was possible already with Cardano and what's been accomplished with Cardano. And, you know, the naysayers, the bots, the paid engagement, all of the bullshit that we see trying to pump up other assets that are just nowhere near even in the same ballpark as Cardano and what it's achieved. It's one of those things where if you understand the system and you see how things are working behind the scenes, if you see how money changes hands to promote this asset or that asset, and then where are those assets now? Like, how many assets have we seen major paid campaigns pumping them? Where are they now? What are they doing today? Nothing. Half of them are gone. Like, it's all BS. And like from 2017 to today, I have learned so much about how the markets work, what to look for, what's expected. Gone are the days where, you know, people are like, hey, I'm going to build this. It's going to change the world and we're going to launch tomorrow. Here's our token today. Buy it now. It's going to the moon. Those days are done, man. Those days are done. That was all interesting and cool at the very beginning when it was possible, when that was a thing, you know, because it was a matter of exchanging ideas garnering support financially from the public that thought those ideas had merit, that the teams had merit, that they were able to pull off these ideas to begin with. That's what it was about then. Now it's about prove it, show us, do something, build something. Now you have the capability. We've been in this space long enough that you should be able to build a blockchain that doesn't crash, that doesn't shut down, that doesn't have to be artificially inflated with a bunch of BS metrics that don't mean anything. And if you have to buy your way into stardom in the sense of like, oh, well, we have to buy all this advertising to promote our blockchain because it really isn't capable of doing very much, but we need people to think it can so that we can like keep the money flowing and valuation. I just think that the days are numbered for a lot of this stuff. Yes, Justin, always has. You just didn't know it. Yeah, that's basically it. Like I'm bullish on Cardano because of everything it's done and everything that it continues to do. And that's it. And we just have to be patient. Raoul Paul, CZ, both of them. I saw them in a recent interview. And, you know, CZ was like, listen, we're just getting started. Like, this bull market is officially just getting started now. We just have to be patient. And I'm being patient. I see the bigger picture. And so, you know, it is what it is. I'm pumped. I'm excited. I'm very, listen, I have a lot of friends. My own mother is big into Cardano. I'm into Cardano, like full bore. I'm into Cardano. And so, you know, yeah, I pay attention and I think it's going to be a really big deal. And I think everybody's going to be very pleasantly surprised when things really start kicking off in the ways that I expect them to. So that's all I got today. It's almost an hour. 1,742 of you and only 157 likes. So I guess you don't like me, so I'm going to sign off. Until next time, Crow,